Welcome to Sold with Webinars, a podcast that aims to uncover how the most successful experts, coaches, consultants, and e-course professionals sell their products and services with just one sales presentation or webinar. A simple sales webinar can transform the business and life of a solopreneur. And this podcast will show you how other experts just like you are generating 6 and 7 figures per year online with their webinars. So let's get started. Hey there, Joel Irway here, and thanks so much for tuning in today. Now, I'm really excited about having today's guest on the show, Scott Oldford, because what we talked about with Scott was a whole gamut of things as it relates to lead generation and webinars and implementing different types of webinars inside of lead generation. And I love talking to Scott about this because he has such in-depth experience and a unique perspective on the whole concept of lead generation and implementing webinars to turn those leads into sales. And we talked about 2 or 3 different strategies for how he leverages automated webinars and live webinars. But we also kind of took a little bit of a different stance towards the end of this episode. And so you're going to want to tune in because we talked about a specific lead generation strategy that I believe is going to be taking the world by storm in terms of internet marketing. And it's all about artificial intelligence and messenger bots. And I don't want to let you in on exactly what we said just now because we dove deep into that towards the end of the episode. And it was really valuable stuff because Scott is really going all in with this type of stuff. And he was producing some incredible open rates, click-through rates, and conversion rates using messenger bots and automated technology inside of Facebook, not even using his own email autoresponder. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of a preview of what we're talking about today. So without further ado, let's get right into today's show. I know you're going to love it. Scott Oldford, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, brother? I'm excited to be here today and excited to chat. Always have a fun time when we're talking, right?
Yeah. I think it was, I was on the line, maybe it was episode 5 with Mike Morrison of Membership Guys, which was a great episode. And right towards the end, we were talking about people to follow. And Mike was like, there's only one guy that you need to follow, Scott Oldford and the SSF method. And I'm like, yeah.
You know what's funny? I don't even know who Mike is. When you posted that on Facebook feed, I'm like, wow, I must be really popular now. And so it was really funny because then somebody else, one of my friends, was like, hey, I'm at a conference right now and there's somebody on stage of 500 people talking about your method. And I had no idea who it is. I'm just like, cool, man. And that goes back to the fact that if you don't have a method in your business, remember, methods are much more easier to remember than your little special, what Jesse Elder likes to call the shiny shit. You take a method. People love methods. People love processes. And they'll remember a process before they'll remember you. So there's golden nugget number 1. But that's cool, man. I'm excited that you started a podcast because podcasting is fun, hanging out, having some fun. I think it's going to be a good 45 minutes or however long it's going to be.
Yeah, awesome. So for the minority of people who are listening right now who have never heard of Scott Oldford, they never heard of the SSF method, they never heard of Infinitus, give us a quick 30 to 60 second introduction about who you are, what your company does, and what are you best known for.
Cool. Well, for the most part, I'm best known for kind of being behind a computer and just kind of figuring out how to break things. You know what I mean? That's definitely what I'm known for. I've been an entrepreneur since I was like 7 years old. Selling eggs on my family's acreage. Hit very successful in my teenage years. Went into $726,000 of debt by the time I was 21. And last year we built it started over again in 2015. Did $500,000 in my first year, $3 million last year. Who knows what I'll do in 2017. We'll see what happens. But in saying that, I help entrepreneurs grow from typically at the 6-figure, just maybe a little tiny below the 6-figure, to 7 figures quickly. Because I've built 5 multi-million-dollar businesses of my own. And I always say I'm great at building multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm not the guy to come to scale 7-figure businesses. I don't know how to do that yet. Still trying to figure that shit out. But when it comes to 6-figure to 7-figure, that stuff's easy. Because of the fact it comes back to lead generation. So long story short, and if you want the long story, you can go to ssfmethod.com, little plug there. But essentially what I see is that no leads are created equal, and a lot of online lead generation and marketing forgets about the human experience of awareness. And so there's sidewalkers, there's slow laners, and there's fast laners. and kind of adopted from, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of DeMarco, The Millionaire Fastlane, amazing book, changed my life. And so I adopted that kind of mindset for lead generation. And essentially it's based on the awareness level. And we meet people based on where they're to instead of trying to push people. So we're pulling people in a relevant way. And so that's what I do. We don't do this for people. We teach you how to do it because I believe the majority of entrepreneurs that are under 7 figures, if you don't know how to, if you don't have an intimate understanding of your sales, your marketing, your customer service, your delivery, your operations, and your finance, you're screwed. So that's a yes. It sucks to have to do your own Facebook ads. It sucks to have to look at your own finances. But our blind spots are our biggest opportunity for growth, and that's what we do.
Awesome, man. That was a great introduction. So I knew a little bit about, I knew most of what you talked about in the background, but I didn't know that you built 5 multi-million-dollar businesses. I knew that you're at $3 million with your
Four of them failed. So let's just go down that road, okay? I always fail when I try to scale. I always fail when I try to scale. That's why if anyone comes to me and says I want to scale a 7-figure business, I'm just like, I ain't your guy. I look at my track record is like almost 100% failure rate. Okay. And I'm very upfront and honest in the fact that like I can help you generate all kinds of cash, all kinds of sales, do great marketing. Can I scale? Because think about it, under $1 million, $2 million, it's all about sales, hustle, grit, marketing, getting attention, mediating that attention and transferring it. Once you get to $2 or $3 million, it's all about operations and customer service and delivery and culture and team and all the shit that I suck at. You know what I mean? Like I'm not good. So I'm good in like the laboratory to get you to 2 or 3 million. Past 2 or 3 million, it's just like it's not my deal. Maybe in like 5 years. Come back to me in 5 years, but we'll see. But that's what it is today.
Got it. You want to make $1 million? Go to Scott. You want to make 2 million? Run away.
Maybe not. Yeah, exactly. Like once you get to $1.5 million, it's like, hey, listen, here's all my good friends that probably can actually help you, but I can't really help you past that.
Yeah. Cool. So let's jump into webinars, right? That's what this podcast is all about. Yeah. And Scott and I connected back at his mastermind in November. We knew each other beforehand, but that was the first time that we met in person in San Diego. And so I was really interested to learn about his method, and he uses webinars in a pretty unique way. He uses webinars as a conversion method. But Scott, talk to my audience and those who are listening right now and tell them how you're leveraging webinars and what your strategy is to implement webinars to generate new sales, produce more content, and the whole strategy behind how you implement webinars in your business.
Well, I think it comes from the fact that, like, number one, if you want to be great, you got to realize that there's only one of you, right? You can't replicate somebody else, okay? You can't replicate someone's success based on where they're to, which is why I hate advice, okay? I hate advice because what works for me, it's not going to work for you, so on, vice versa. You might be able to pick up clues for how you can apply it to your own life. So anything I say, and I always give this disclosure, everything I say might be complete bullshit for where you're to in your situation. If you want to try it out, awesome. I recommend trying new things. But for me, here's the deal. I'm not a great copywriter. I'm not a great presenter. I'm not an amazing NLP expert. I don't have some magical formula for how to put together a webinar. And anytime I've tried to use any of those, my webinars suck, okay? And so what I looked at, when I was starting out, I had no money for a writer. I had no money for ad spend. I was totally broke. I was funding my company on my girlfriend's line of credit and credit card. And so I had to try to figure out, how do I get as many leads as possible? How do I build an audience? And how do I get as many sales as possible for as least as possible, right? So in the world of going direct to a webinar from, say, a Facebook ad, that to me, and listen, and I always say, there's plenty of people that are going to disagree with me on this, and I respectfully disagree with them. And I say, whatever makes you money, cool, I'm awesome with it. But this is the way that I look at it. We are in a society that has entirely very small attention. We now have an attention span. I was looking at new research. We now have an attention span lower than a goldfish. Right, 10 years ago, we were doing pretty good. We had like an 11-second attention span. We now have a 6-second attention span. It's gone down in half almost. So the way that I look at things is how do we make something relevant to someone, right? And how do we look at this relevancy of us being relevant, or our business being relevant, or our idea being relevant? And how do we make it so that before they get onto the webinar, we are relevant, paying is relevant, They understand our process and our methodology. They know, like, and trust us. And they're getting on that damn webinar just to buy. I mean, you can literally go on there, in your boxers with no shirt on and be like, all right, guys, listen, let's buy some stuff here today. And that's quite literally what happens. So the idea of it is to utilize the Sidewalk Slowing Fastlane methodology so that, it could be a quiz or a guide in the Sidewalks, and that's low commitment, gets the idea across, makes something relevant. And then we kind of upgrade them to a slow lane. It could be a challenge or a video series or whatever it may be in the slow lane. So, a little bit more time, maybe, 10, 15, 20 minutes of time that they're spending over, in a couple different variations. And then when they get to the webinar, and it's amazing, like, my webinars go for like 3 hours. Okay. My webinars go so long. Nobody drops off. I don't know what these guys even do. Like, I don't even understand. Like, these guys sometimes don't have a calendar. But people don't drop off. So my show up rates are 50% plus. My sale rates are through the roof. My engagement rates are ridiculous because I'm not getting on the line with a bunch of people that don't know me and trying to sell me. So I don't get on and I don't talk about my typical sob story and a lot of what you see with webinars. I use natural stories. I don't use a script. I don't use any of these different types of things. And what I've really done is I just get on and kind of have fun at this point. It's been an iterative approach where, I've probably done about 300 webinars live at this point in the last 3 years, less than 3 years, but about 3 years. And, at the beginning I had this structure, obviously we get the Frank Kerns of the world and Russell Brunsons and, their kind of scripts and everything else. For me, that just never ever worked for me. And I think the reason it just didn't work for me is because, number one, I'm a little bit opinionated and respectfully opinionated. But number two, I don't do good remembering things, right? I don't remember structure. I just kind of need to get on and have like one slide to talk about whatever and just have fun with the people that are there. So I had to create a situation where I had the highest amount of potential with the lowest amount of me having to like put an effort in to like read a script, right? That's sort of what happened. That's sort of the situation. That's typically what happens for us. And so when somebody meets us, we don't do a direct webinar. We do in our case, it depends on, we have a few different funnels, but let's say our main one, it would be like a couple of guides that show you how you do some cool, stuff that you probably wouldn't see online. And then we bring you to a 5-day challenge that has generated millions of dollars at this point, that challenge has. And then at the challenge, that's how we turn you into a customer, is a 3-hour implementation session, which goes against everything that you would probably ever tell anybody what to do. I opened the Facebook ad account and I just like start going. I opened the landing page. Like, I basically at the end of that webinar, I'm like, listen, you can build this yourself, and I'm totally cool with you building yourself. Like, give me like high fives all around. Like, you're a rock star. Or you can pay me, and we can make it so that you have you can increase your momentum and reduce the amount of time, right? And increase speed. And it works pretty well for us. Does it work for everybody? I don't know. But I know for us, it's what I'm comfortable.
So anyone who joins your webinar has known you for how long?
At least 10 days.
At least 10 days. Okay, so bare minimum, these people have been on your list. They've known you for at least 10 days. So with any marketing funnel, any marketing in the world, like this is just marketing 101, the more somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, the higher your close percentage. Like,
I'm also qualified who I want my customers to be, because I'm a slightly abrasive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't put up with bullshit. I am who I am. And so by the point that they've got to the slow lane, they either like me or they don't, right? And I want to get all the people that don't like me, I don't want them to buy my shit, right? I don't. If people don't like me, they're not going to like my shit, right?
So you certainly don't want them on a webinar interacting with you and killing you.
No, definitely, because especially not live, because I will call those guys out and I will crush them. And I people, I love people's objections, because it's not the fact that I take it personally. I just take the fact that they're an idiot. And I need to break their reality. And if they don't like me for it, that's fine. But they'll look 2 years in advance and be like, okay, maybe Scott was right. Mm-hmm. Because people do that for me. And as I always say, if you suck, the worst thing you can do is see someone suck and not tell them about the fact that they just suck at something. Because the day you realize you suck is the day you can improve.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. So you do. So people jump on your live webinars. They have to be on your list at least 10 days, which is it works really, really well, and it's brilliant because you want to get those people who understand your process and they're more likely to buy. Awesome.
So just as a quick correction, so the main marketing funnel, like almost every single marketing funnel we have, the webinars are evergreen. So the first webinar,
that's exactly where I was going next. So talk about what you do with like how you implement live versus evergreen and where they are in that scene.
Yeah. So we do, we got one live webinar, or sorry, one evergreen webinar, which is basically our implementation session, which sells our $2,000 product. We don't do webinars for our high ticket, like our $15,000, $20,000 program, because those entrepreneurs aren't going to go to a webinar. You know what I mean? Like those people got better things to do. So we do we do a different marketing funnel for them to get them on the phone. Because I don't know about you, but I don't know the last time I went to a webinar, but I'm a little bit of a different case because I'm not going to go to a webinar. I'm going to reach out to the person that ran the damn thing, get them on the phone and be like, all right, cool. How much money do I need to pay? But that's not always the case. So that is the evergreen stuff. That's the only thing we evergreen. The live one, there's a couple things here. My industry, the marketing industry sucks, okay? And we all know the marketing industry sucks. The problem the marketing industry sucks is because the damn thing changes so often, right? And you put out a new idea, and then somebody else puts out a new idea, and then this new technology comes around, and everybody that's following us got bright shiny light syndrome, where they're like, oh my god, we got to do this. Oh my god, we got to do that. Oh my god, we got to do that. So relevancy comes from being new, right? And having the shiny shit, which sucks. But if you want to be relevant in my marketplace, I have to continually have new content. And it just so happens that I have a lot of content. And after being an entrepreneur since I was 7 years old, gives me a lot of shit to talk about. So what we decided to do is do 2 webinars a month. So we do 2 live streams a month and 2 webinars a month. So I'm like at least once a week, I'm putting out new content. The reason we're doing it, number one, is to create new content because I suck at writing. And so we just hired we're about to hire a content distribution person that takes these webinars and then chops it up into different formats. So we're going to have a podcast with it. We're going to have a guide with it, all these different types of things. But I get to create 4 pieces of content a month, and that's it. Everything else is taken care of. I don't have to do anything else. And while I'm doing that, I'm continually being relevant to the people that are on my email list. Because just because you didn't buy from me the first time doesn't mean you're going to do it again. Mm-hmm. So you're in my Facebook group. You're like, oh man, that was a cool email, or whatever it may be. And so it gives a constant opportunity for more sales. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is sales, right? By doing those 2 webinars and 2 live streams a month, we generate pretty good revenue from that, right? Like honestly, we pretty much hit our lead craft, like our $2,000 goal just by doing that every single month, even if we didn't get any sales on the front end. And so that's how the live ones are ran. And I mean, these are like 30 slides. I mean, I put them together in an hour. I just get on camera like this, have a conversation. Then I'm like, hey, listen, who's not in LeadCraft, right? Why aren't you in LeadCraft? And I just spin it at a new angle, mm-hmm. right? So like today I got the slow lane launch formula, which, we got 1,000+ people signed up for it. We spent like $3,000 on ads, sent a couple of emails, so we'll probably have 300 or 400 or 500 people on the day on that. And, we'll probably sell like 30 copies of LeadCraft, mm-hmm. which is like, $60,000. What it comes at is I got a lot of content up here and I need a reason to put it out because I'm lazy. If I have 1,000 people that say, Scott, I want that, then it makes me go and say, okay, you know what? I probably should actually develop that shit.
You should probably do it.
Yeah, I should probably do it. And so I just have a little bit of fun. We got pretty much everything systemized at this point. It's the same kind of, sale emails. But what I do is I always just do a little tiny bit of the difference in the offer. So what I'll say is, like today, like the first 5 people, they can get on a phone call with me for 25 minutes. And I'll basically plan out their slow lane launch for them. Real quick, you know what I mean? And then the other people, they'll get a call with one of my team members to be able to do the same. So I always put in like a slightly like new twist.
Yeah.
But everything else is the same.
So it's interesting that you talk about that because, so just to recap for everybody, if you're listening right now, what Scott's talking about is inside of his main lead generation funnel, he's getting people to opt into a guide and go to a challenge. And at the end, he puts them into an evergreen webinar, which is extremely smart because it maximizes his time. And we all know that webinars are the best, in my opinion. I don't know if Scott, you agree with this, but webinars are the best conversion mechanism to get people to make that commitment to a purchase. So in that first iteration for the sale, the conversion mechanism is an evergreen webinar. You may have other conversion mechanisms as well, but that's where he puts the evergreen webinar. So then they're on his list for at least 10 days at that point, and they get into his group, they get into his email list. He does 4 live webinars a month, 2 are live streams, 2 are webinar style. But essentially, it's 4 more opportunities.
And basically, what I would say on that, just to add on to that, the live streams I don't really promote that much.
Yeah.
So like live streams, I basically just in our Facebook group got like 8,000 people in it. I'll just add an event and post about it. No email, no Facebook ads. But then the webinars, we do the whole kind of spiel.
Yep. So it's very similar to what I'm doing right now. It's an automated webinar when people first jump onto my list, because as we all know, cold traffic is the most difficult, the most frustrating to sell to. So give them the webinar first, automated, then get them on your group and focus your live efforts with your group and your warm list. That's I love it. And that's exactly what I'm doing with Webinar Wednesdays. I do Webinar Wednesdays in my group. It's the same idea, same concept. So very cool. So I want to pivot now and talk about what you're really, really excited about coming up in the future. And this is going to be the future of lead generation. It's not even the future. It's here right now. You're doing it. You're crushing it right now. I want to talk about artificial intelligence, and I want to talk about bots for lead gen. I'm going to leave it open like that, and I'm going to let you run with it because I don't know anything about it.
I won't go into AI too much because I'll first say that the future is here. It's just not widely distributed. That's the first thing. Like the shit that they have in laboratories right now, it's scary. Okay, like the shit that they have that just we haven't figured out how to make it distributed easily is amazing in all the scary and exciting ways that you can imagine. So that's the first thing. Artificial intelligence. Here's my prediction. By 2021, you won't need to make a marketing funnel anymore. Okay, which is scary for someone like me because it's like, what the hell am I going to do? Right. So here's really what it is. We got artificial intelligence that using machine learning can replicate and write better copy than copywriters can, which is like, what the hell? And we're going to have a point where you're going to have a ClickFunnels type of dealio, and you're going to go, here's my goal, here's my business, here's everything else, and it'll just create the damn thing for you. Okay. So if you're in the business of marketing, look at what happened to websites. 1998, right up until about 2010, 2011, 2012. You can be selling websites for ridiculous amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty dumb business to be in now, because you can just go to Wix or Squarespace and design something that's just as good. Yes, there's content strategy and blah, 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 blah. And, some marketer will try to, sell it to you, but let's call a spade a spade. So that's artificial intelligence. It's here. It's here to stay. What we must remember, though, is that we've realized that artificial intelligence doesn't need to be that artificial. What we really need is just branched logic and logic boards that are based upon decisions, because the majority of decisions are yes and no's.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need robots going around figuring out shit themselves, because number one, that's fucking scary. And so from that realm, we must realize that it's about branched logic versus AI. And AI won't be like, we won't have robots that can actually think for themselves for another 15 years, that like in full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So from a business perspective, you're still good. Now, when it comes to bots, all right, everyone thinks about messenger bots. So we got Facebook bots, and we got website bots, we got all these different types of things. And it's going to be big. It's going to be big, and it's going to be big this year. If you look at the adoption of technology, the radio was like 34 years, 35 years. The TV was like 12 or 15. Facebook was like 4 or 5 or something like that. Messenger bots is going to be less than a year. You know what I mean? Or I should say less than a year. It's 2 years in total, because they launched it in mid 2016 in a big way. But by the middle of 2018, if you don't have a bot as a business, you're like, it's the same as not having a website.
For somebody who doesn't know what we mean by a bot or a messenger bot, can you give them a quick definition?
Sure. So that's where I'm heading. And so, what you have to realize is that, I just said AI doesn't need to be doesn't need to actually have intelligence. It just needs to have branched logic.
Mm-hmm.
So different types of bots. So essentially, a bot, a Facebook Messenger bot, is you reply to something and it's having an intimate conversation or an intimate experience without you actually being there, or without somebody on your team actually being there. So, the best way I can say it is it allows you to scale intimacy. Now, there's 2 different types of bots. There's smart bots that actually respond to your language, and there's dumb bots, which are really honestly just kind of like yes nos. It's qualification. I don't think majority of businesses need a smart bot. Okay, I think it's kind of dumb to put your time and money into that unless you have a really good use case for it. Okay. And the reason I say that is because the way that I see bots is that it's an overlaying technique and technology onto your existing marketing funnel to increase intimacy, relevancy, qualification, and engagement so that we have the ability to, of course, be further relevant and to mediate attention towards the pain that you can solve. That is the purpose of the bot. The purpose of the bot is not to replace webinars, not to replace the ability to sell, not to replace your landing pages or your lead magnets or your emails or any of this type of stuff. It is a new way to gather and direct attention. And I think anybody that's trying to use it for any other reason is overcomplicating a process that doesn't need to be complicated. So I see people, we have this new bots for business. We're doing a done for you service and a course and that type of thing. And I see all these guys on here that are like, oh yeah, I want to have like, the machine learning. And I'm just like, dude, do you have a multi-million-dollar business? Because you just sound like a dumb idiot right now. You want why? What, like, why would you need that? Right? Why would you? How complicated is your business model that you need a bot to be able to talk to someone in an intelligent way? Blah 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 blah. So I'm not going down, at least not right now. I'm not going down the complicated smart bot route. I think money always comes in two ways: the simplest and the most repetitive thing. Right? You ever look at if you want to make a lot of money, you just repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, which is why majority of entrepreneurs never make money, because they just want to innovate all the time.
Shiny object syndrome.
Me. So based on that, I think that every single business should have a dumb bot that qualifies, engages, creates awareness, and takes attention, and then directs it over to the marketing funnel and then utilizes it to continue to be relevant in that person's life based on where you do. And so what I love about bots is that it integrates into my SSF model perfectly, because it can take someone in the sidewalk, okay? It can give someone a lead magnet. I'll give you an example. We have a Facebook video advertising guide. Everyone wants Facebook video advertising. The conversion rate's insane. Everyone, it's one of those things that are like, oh my God, it must be video. And let's be honest, video does work quite well. So, there's some merit behind that. It's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we put that PDF guide out there, and then we bring them in and we say, hey, listen, do you need help? So we give them the guide via Messenger, right? We give them the PDF. And then 30 minutes later, we come back and say, hey, listen, do you need help with lead generation? Is lead generation a problem? And they say, yeah, no, you know what? Things are good. Cool. Awesome. We tag them that way. Yes. Okay, cool. Fair enough. So I don't know if you've known or not, but, lead generation has changed, and we're in 2017 and things are a little bit different. And we have this really, really cool method called the SSF method. I was wondering if you ever heard about that or not. So then we qualify, if they're cold or if they're new, if they're warm. So if they say no, if they say yes, we're like, sweet, awesome. And you'll see the comeback here. So if they say no, we say, awesome, cool. Well, over 20,000 entrepreneurs are in the process of implementing this in some realm. And I put together a little 5-page guide for you. Would you like that? Would that be beneficial? They say yes or no. So they say yes. And we say, awesome, cool. So then they get the guide. And then 24 hours later, we follow up and say, hey, listen, I just wanted to quickly check in. Did you get a chance to read the guide? And they say yes or no. And if they say no, awesome. Is there anything that we can do to help you, see this in a different way? Do you want me to send you a video of this? Maybe you're a video person instead of a PDF person. And they say yes or no. So if they say yes, we say, awesome, cool. So based on that, is this something that you would like to implement and understand how to implement and deploy into your business? And they say yes or no. And so then, of course, if they say yes, we say, cool. So just to be able to do this to help you a little bit further and allow us to be relevant, are you generating, above or below $10,000 on a monthly basis? And this is one of the main qualifiers, because if they're above 10,000, they're not going to go to a webinar. If they're below 10,000, they're going to need to go to a webinar. So if they go below 10,000, we bring them into our challenge. And we know that if someone's qualified, our challenge converts incredibly well. If they're above 10,000, we say, hey, listen, more than likely, by the sounds of it, you're probably on the 6-figure hamster wheel. And we explain this thing. And I got a quick 6-minute video that I just want to share with you. Is that something that you'd like to hear about? They say, yeah, cool. And so I send them the video. And then at the end of that, I say, hey, listen, if you're serious about fixing this, I can keep giving you content and put you on webinars. But, you're probably like me, and you actually want to take action on something and fix it and have a solution for it. So would you like to book a call with somebody on our team to be able to go through on how this can be applied to your business? And it's a yes or no. If it's a yes, awesome. Here's the application. I'm looking forward to seeing you inside.
Awesome. So there's a lot of cool things in there that's happening. First of all, just to recap, if you're listening right now, the future of marketing and the future of lead generation is changing like as we speak. So Scott's talking about these Facebook Messenger bots where basically an ad out there is saying, hey, would you like something? They click on it, and what's happening is they get an instant message from Scott or Scott's fan page, whatever it is, saying, hey, thanks for your interest. And then he basically goes and asks them a series of questions and diverts them into specific lanes. Ultimately the same, we want to get them to the end goal, but it's all tailored specific to, first of all, keeping them engaged. They're staying on Facebook. They're staying on one platform. So they're like, essentially, this is eliminating the website. This is part Facebook taking over the world. And also,
which is why I'm recommending that you still on a lead magnet page, you still get someone's email address first and do an email campaign alongside this.
Yeah.
Because if not, here's the deal: this is in its intimacy, and we know that Facebook is a toll booth, not our best friend. Right? It's our best friend if we're cool paying. I'm cool paying. I got no problem paying Facebook. I pay Facebook a lot of money, but we always have to bring things back. We always have to own it.
Yep.
Which is why I'm saying don't do the sale in the Facebook Messenger, right? Number one, it's against the terms of service. And number two, make sure you still own the relationship, because if you don't own the relationship, and this is why I say marketing, people are like, oh, marketing funnels are dead. Number one, if anyone ever says anything is dead, don't listen to them. But more than anything else, it still means that you need to own the relationship. So anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, I was just saying there's a lot of interesting things happening here. Like one, Facebook is trying to take ownership, and they're trying to keep ownership. They want to keep people on their app, on their website as much as possible. That's any business is trying to do that. They're trying to keep your attention as much as possible and keeping this inside. They basically just built out their own email autoresponder is what this essentially is. They're now competing with the autoresponders of the world.
The word bot is tossed around in a reckless kind of way, because in my opinion, this isn't a bot. Like, yes, it's a bot, but like this is an autoresponder that has yes and no's in it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it's but it works. I mean, there's
oh my God! I mean, the open rates and the click rates. I mean, we did for tomorrow or for today's webinar at 3 p.m. We did a little message to 807 people that we knew that we had tagged as being specific into our, and we've only generated 2,000 or 3,000, new subscribers. I mean, I've been using this less than 4 weeks. Okay. So
yeah.
I test a lot of shit. I spend a lot of money on things. But overall, am I the world's most authority on messenger bots? Probably not. But the other thing is there's barely anybody that's even used this for lead generation sales. So I guess, from that perspective, I know more than the next guy, but we sent it out to 807 people. Of those people, 89% opened it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people I would kill to get that in our email marketing? I mean, that would be surreal. And of those people, more than half of them signed up for the webinar.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it doesn't cost you anything to send the message.
Nothing. It costs nothing. I love it. It makes me so excited. I mean, and it's one of those things because, I know Facebook's going to change the game at some point, which is why I say, listen, you got to get it. Like, people are up. If you're afraid, I'm going to get in and it's going to change. Well, shit, dude. I mean, if Henry Ford said that, if all the people who are using horses, felt that way, we'd be kind of screwed. I mean, if the world changes, and I'm so with Gary Vee on this. Gary Vee always talks about, Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about the fact that you have to be where the attention's to, right? And it's going to change. Listen, this shit's going to be different 6 months from now, but use it today to have that first mover advantage. Because I guarantee you, it happened. It happened with Google search. It happened with Facebook ads. It happened with Facebook groups. It happened with marketing. Every single way of marketing will get ruined by idiots like me. So get in before a bunch of idiots like me talk to everybody else to utilize this stuff. Because if you're listening to this, you're probably going to do it before 99% of the population.
Yep. So let's recap real quick. So we talked about a lot of cool things today, and I want to respect your time listening because we want to try and keep these to consumable chunks. But basically, what we talked about the different stages of where you can implement webinars and live trainings for your conversion mechanisms. Scott talked about doing automated and why you do automated first, then you do live to the rest of your crowds. We talked about that. Then we moved into bots and Facebook Messenger bots, and we talked briefly about artificial intelligence. But Scott showed us how he was getting an 89% open rate on his on his webinar invites and a ridiculous 50% conversion rate on his entire list. So that's not even just like opening, that's opening, clicking through, and registering for a webinar, which is just insane. So what did you say? You had, what, 300 or 400 people register for today's webinar?
No, we had just over 1,000 registered for the webinar. So I mean, we should have. I mean, listen, when we do these types that aren't, our evergreen show up rate is redunculous, like 80%. Live ones are always going to be lower, like typically. So we'll get somewhere between 35 to 55. Depends what it is. Depends the positioning. I've stopped with all this crap of no replays. I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. You're not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. If you want this, it's there. If not, hey, listen, you're an idiot for signing up for it, not listening to it. So, listen, if you're an idiot, don't buy from me. Don't listen to anything. Have a great day. If you want to be successful, then pick up a few clues, buy some shit if you want, and have a great day. I don't try any tactics anymore, like, the typical BS webinar tactics, because in my opinion, I don't want to have idiot, dumb customers, and that attracts a lot of idiot, dumb customers.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my mentality. But I'm also coming from a place that if someone doesn't buy from me, I'm not starving.
Right.
Right. So it's a little bit different.
Awesome, man. So Scott, where can people find you? Where can people connect with you?
If you haven't already Googled me on this, listening to this podcast, that's probably the best way to do it. You just Google. We got the 5-day challenge, because you're in the slow. If you're still here, you're in the slow lane, right? So go sign up for the challenge. You got about a 1 in 18 chance of buying from me if you sign up for that. So just FYI, and at least in the first 13 days, it increases to about 1 in 10 afterwards. But in saying that, just Google me, or Facebook, or I don't know. I mean, I'm not that hard of a guy to follow. Yeah, funny story. Last story. I have shit credit. Okay, 4 years ago, $726,000 in debt. You don't get $726,000 in debt and not have bad credit. So, and I live in a pretty nice place here in Toronto. The only reason that I have this place in Toronto is because I own Google, and when they Google search me, they got like my articles on Entrepreneur, Forbes, and everything else, and my website, and they were like, you know what? You seem legit. Your credit score sucks. We probably shouldn't give you this place, but we believe you. And honest to God, that is the reason why I can live where I live, because everybody else denied this shit out of it was like the 6th place I had to go after, because everyone's just like, how can you afford this with that shit credit? And I'm just like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. I can be broke tomorrow. I can be, a millionaire tomorrow. Who knows? You know what I mean? So.
Man, Scott, I had a blast today. We learned about a lot of stuff, and I'm sure if you're listening right now, hopefully you learned a ton. There's a lot going on in our industry, and Scott was able to share just a ton of what he's testing. If you do Google him, just a fair warning, you are going to be retargeted like mad. Scott took a picture of one of my messages when I sent him, like, all right, man, you broke the new record. My first 5 posts were either your ad or any piece of content that you just post that you just.
I will retarget you as much as Ty Lopez retargets you, which is a lot.
But it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. That's why people talk about you at marketing conferences. That's why people mention your name at your podcast. So it's not spam.
No, I won't show you any sports cars or fancy houses or anything else. I'll give you a lot of things you can actually use. But yeah, I will retarget you until you're a customer, and then I'll just keep retargeting you, because then you're going to want to see what I don't even do an exclusion list anymore, because my customers want to see what I'm doing. And then I get the spare one that complains, and I'm just like, I've actually had to set up an exclusion page where you can go to get excluded from all my marketing, but and it's a pixel. And but that's literally the only way. We even market to our customers. We're just like, here you go, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyways, listen, man, it's been awesome being here. If you've been listening to this, thanks for still being here. But more than anything else, I can share all kinds of new ideas and concepts, and you can get all brilliance from the other people that are on this podcast, so on and so forth. But the only reason that anybody is ever going to have any type of success or momentum is because you action shit. So instead of there's 2 types of entrepreneurs: people that go out, do shit, hustle, break shit, and say fuck it to operations, processes, and all the other type of stuff. And there's a second type of entrepreneur that just doesn't do anything. They do all the process, all the operations, all the thinking, but they don't actually do any shit. And you're going to be broke as shit. And I don't want that for you, because you probably got this really cool product or idea or concept that the world needs to know about. So get more people to know about it and buy from you. And with that, next.
Drop the mic. Awesome. Stick around for just a second, Scott, and we'll wrap up. But thanks everyone for listening to our episode today. We got more content coming up, so make sure that you like and subscribe to this podcast, and hopefully we get more people like Scott just sharing their intelligence, sharing their specialty. And that's my mission for this podcast. So until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side, and stay real. Take care.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. You can also follow and watch the behind-the-scenes look at how I'm personally launching a brand new 6- and 7-figure product from scratch at soldwithwebinars.com/TV. And if you'd like to come hang out with other fellow experts, join our Facebook group at soldwithwebinars.com/experts. Join us next time, and I'll see you there.